Sorry. If you think that constant American presence is necessary in Afghanistan in order to ensure civil liberties, then you basically are admitting, especially as a consequence of like the Taliban and how powerful they are, then you're literally fucking saying that like an imperial power, if you want to fucking call the USSR imperialist, then go ahead. An imperial power there is better than the fucking Mujahideen. And while the USSR was incredibly fucking violent, and the civil war that broke out afterwards was also fucking horrifying, the reality is like it would have never fucking happened if it wasn't for the Pakistani intelligence services and the United States State Department turning Afghanistan into the USSR's Vietnam, knowing full well that there would be fucking intervention. Did you learn that on the gray zone? Yeah, the gray zone. The gray zone taught me that, dude, which I totally agree with all the time with everything they say. Like, isn't Ben Norton a fucking literal anti-lockdown, anti-vaxxer guy now? Maybe not an anti-vaxxer, but like, no, I fucking, I'm not like a Jimmy Dore fan, dude. I don't know why you're like losing your fucking shit. I learned that from the American government. The American government itself unironically fucking took credit for it. So I don't know why you need this. Like here. Where is it? Here you go. When former U.S. National Security Advisor Zbigniew Brzezinski bragged about prompting the Soviet Union to invade Afghanistan so that it could get its Vietnam, he was not making an empty boast. Afghanistan was the ground for one of the last Cold War battles between the United States and the Soviet Union after the Red Army rolled into the country December 24th, 1979. For the next decade, the Soviet Union became bogged down in guerrilla war against the anti-Soviet Mujahideen. Faced with rugged mountainous terrain and stiff resistance, the supposedly invincible Red Army was humbled, leading, according to some experts, to the empire's collapse. Observers give a number of reasons for the Soviet invasion. One of the reasons, of course, is that like the socialist government at the time was fucking awful. Okay, they were brutal. They were not great. Did not facilitate land reforms in the appropriate manner. But more importantly than everything else, they were like super fucking expressly and overtly anti-Islam. Which certainly was not met with a lot of happy thoughts by an otherwise, you know, happy to be Muslim population. According to former CIA Director Robert Gates, U.S. intelligence services began aiding the anti-Soviet Union Mujahideen 6 months ahead of the Red Army's invasion. Brzezinski said he convinced Carter to sign the first directive for secret aid to opponents of the pro-Soviet regime in Kabul on July 3rd, 1979, in an effort to goad the Red Army into invading in a 1998 interview. We watched it yesterday as Ronald Reagan literally fucking named a space travel flight that the United States did at the time after the Mujahideen, and even compared them to George Washington. These guys were obviously very diverse. Some of them ended up becoming the Taliban. Some of them fought against the Taliban. So it's hard to just like paint the picture as like all of them were literally fucking. There were even Maoist groups, if I'm not mistaken, that were fighting against the socialist government at the time. But ultimately, the most successful branch out of the Mujahideen became the Taliban. Yeah, supported by China, LMAO. Yeah, there was Chinese involvement at the time. I wrote a note to the president in which I explained to him that, in my opinion, this aid was going to induce a Soviet military intervention, said Brzezinski. The former national security advisor's plan was a success. The Afghan quagmire forced the Soviet Union to stay in the Central Asian state for a decade. The initial thrust of the Soviet invasion was made by some 40,000 troops. By late 1985, this number swelled to 118,000, 10,000 of which were reported to be Soviet secret police and other special units trying to face down the Afghan resistance. Two days after the Soviet invasion, Brzezinski sent a memo to the U.S. president expressing concern that if the Soviets succeed in Afghanistan, the age-long dream of Moscow to have direct access to the Indian Ocean will have been fulfilled. But Harrison said the Soviet Union was never scheming towards the Indian Ocean, adding Brzezinski promoted confrontation between Washington and Moscow in the Afghan arena. Brzezinski's hardline policy towards the Soviet Union was reflected in his policy towards Afghanistan. From what I understand, I was corrected on this take that I originally had. From what I understand, the USSR involvement originally in Afghanistan was for multiple different reasons. One of which was, of course, the socialist government at the time was like insane, and were talking about how they want to fucking empty out all the mosques in a year, expressly anti-Islam, and that also on top of that, that they like it would have helped with internal propaganda. Certainly, that's what crumbling superpowers do. Certainly. So Adam Curtis's take was correct on that regard. But also because they wanted to fucking... Dude, you're sitting here reading Al Jazeera like the gospel, bro. They have a huge bias in reporting that you can only avoid with your Twitch Prime. Sorry about your back, by the way, lol. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Do you consider the Taliban a terrorist group? I mean, literally every fucking militant organization is considered a terrorist group if they are against the American government. So yes, they're a terrorist group, but terrorism is a political fucking term. They're a militant group that is fundamentalist, Islamist, reactionary as fuck, backed by Pakistan, backed by the United States originally. And they were offered Afghanistan in its entirety as a nice little fucking prize by the United States government. So do with that information what you will. Blue massage dildo does not work. They're literally not terrorists anymore because they're now a new government. That's how it works. Exactly. And this is how it works. How it works is, how it works is if you have a successful rebellion, if you have a successful movement, and you're able to get, like, you know, state actors to recognize you as even if they recognize you originally as a non-state actor and a terror cell, if you get them to recognize you as a state actor, then congratulations, you're no longer a terrorist. You understand? Mujahideen resistance to Taliban begins now, but we need help. Opinion by Ahmed Massoud, who is the leader of the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan. In 1998, when I was 9 years old, my father, the Mujahideen commander Ahmed Shah Massoud, gathered his soldiers. So this is actually people who are saying like, oh, dude, they want to fucking arm the Mujahideen. I don't know how this kid's going to be. I don't know how his kid is like, but his father was assassinated. I talked about this before. His father was assassinated by the fucking Taliban. Or not Taliban, Al-Qaeda. Sorry. So his father was the famous battalion leader, like Northern Alliance commander, the Mujahideen commander that was seen as a fucking hero, Ahmed Shah Massoud. And he was literally assassinated when this man known as the Blind Sheik, which was under under watch by the U.S. agencies, I think it was the CIA, sent him a letter functionally doxing him, which led to the Taliban. Fuck, I keep saying Taliban. Which led to Al Qaeda murdering him. Okay, thank you, Encoded Lua, for the 501 gift subs. Now, that's and this happened 2 days before 9/11. And originally, he wanted to, as a consequence of Osama bin Laden's potential connection to the 1993 World Trade Center bombing attacks, he was trying to send the United States Osama bin Laden 2 days before 9/11. That's the dad, though. And he was seen as a hero, and he was martyred, and he's still seen as a hero. So that is what happened. However, I'm not gonna run the fucking ad break at the top of the hour. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna try to sit down. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Okay, that was successful. That was pretty good. I will never get up now for the rest of the day. It reminds me of my grandma. I know, I'm very similar to your grandma. Much better. Nothing like that lumbar support. Hope you stocked the fridge then. I did not actually full-blown stock it. And I have to pee still, so we'll see what happens. I should have just fucking worn adult diapers. Anyway. So let's get to the U.S. evacuation, and we'll get back to this article in a second. Okay? But immediately, the moment I see an article like this appear on the Washington Post, ding, 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 alarm bells ring in my head that it probably is not good. So let's do it. Let's keep going.
Americans as the Taliban tightens control.
Americans are being evacuated from Afghanistan. Your boss also owns the Washington Post? Yeah, I know.
The U.S. scrambling to evacuate Americans as the Taliban tightens control. Taliban leaders holding a press conference, and our Ian Panel was there and has the very latest for us in Kabul. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. That's right. There's a darkness, a sadness that seems to have settled on Kabul. Life is slowly returning to the city. But down at the airport where the evacuations are taking place, it's total chaos. This morning, as the Taliban consolidates control of Afghanistan, as many as 11,000 Americans and tens of thousands of Afghans still desperately trying to leave the country. So far, the US able to evacuate 3,200 people from Afghanistan, including all US embassy personnel, bar a core group of diplomats. For those Americans still in the country, a safe exit from the airport guaranteed, but the journey there has to be attempted at their own risk. An email to US nationals saying, the United States government cannot guarantee your security as you make this trip.
Their safety needs to be their top priority. If they feel that it is unsafe for them to make their way to the airport, they should not seek to do so.
The US planning to launch one flight per hour, getting up to 9,000 people out each day. To access those evacuation flights and the US checkpoint on the military side of the airport, those trying to leave the country must first pass through Taliban-controlled civilian areas, the runway dividing the two. But for now, the Taliban only letting foreigners through. In their first press conference since seizing power, the Taliban promising amnesty for all the...
Yo, 100%. The reason why the Taliban are letting foreigners through, I 100% believe that the only reason why they're letting exclusive foreigners through is probably because they fucking talked to the State Department. Because they originally let everyone through, and it was fucking chaos on the ground. So now they're just like, all right, we're only going to let foreigners through. Like, anytime we fucking hear about, what the Taliban is doing, I need you guys to remember this is happening under the watchmanship of the United States. Okay? There is no fucking shot. Do you mean foreigners to Afghanistan? Yes, foreigners to Afghanistan, like Americans and shit like that. There is no fucking shot, dude. Because as I've established time and time again, many times over the past couple of days, like, this is a deal that the Americans made to give Afghanistan to the Taliban. Okay? That's it. They wanted to finally take advantage of the resource-dense region. They wanted to be able to, start extracting minerals and shit. And they wanted to be able to build facilities. And they were never going to be able to do that with the Afghan government in charge because of puppet state. And even those in Kabul, the more liberal Afghans in Kabul, were not even a fucking fan of the puppet state, whose leader literally escaped. Ghani literally fucking escaped, according to reports, with $169 million. He's now in the UAE, baby. Because of course. The Afghan ambassador in Tajikistan says Ashraf Ghani escaped with bags full of $169 million US when Kabul was failing. Are you saying there's a deal like a trade agreement? I'm saying that there's a deal, not like a trade agreement, but a deal that big governments and superpowers have struck many times with developing nations. Okay? And that deal is, if you fucking maintain regional stability and ensure that, like, Americans are not hurt, and then also give us your assurance that we can have some fucking nice mining contracts, probably lithium, because some of the other minerals are already going to be given to China, then we'll let you take over the country. Because one of the main hurdles for resource extraction in the region, as we have talked about before, is security. They can't build infrastructure they can't build facilities that can, enrich or actually do anything with the minerals that they've extracted. Okay? Same with just the extraction in general. Like, they were using, like, very the funny way to use it. The foreign policy wonk way of talking about it is artisanal. Like, they were doing artisanal mineral extraction. That's what the foreign policy wonks will say. So that's why they need to build facilities, and you can't do that when the Taliban will just infiltrate and intercept. You can't. One of the problems of, like, occupying a country, why were the mineral deposits never touched during the last 20 years, or were there mineral mines? Veteran MM is not actually a veteran, right? His dad is a veteran, I think. Yeah, they were touched. President Ghani and his brother had like literal contracts with both China and also the United States. So they did touch them. They were touching them all the time, as we talked about already. I don't know how this dude was able to flee with $169 million, by the way. That's a lot of fucking cash. That actually is incredibly heavy. So I question that number. I question the validity of that number. So it doesn't matter unless he fucking put it in Bitcoin, which is another kind of mining, if you know what I'm saying. Dude, all of this, we discussed a lot of this with Brace and Liz from TrueAnon. It was a lot of fun. I really am excited for you guys to listen to that podcast that we just shot. It's like an 18-wheeler full of cash. No, I think it's just like 3,000. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of cash. $1 million in $100 bills weighs around 22 pounds. Yeah, it's like 3,000 pounds most likely. It's like somewhere around 3,000 pounds. This guy with just a complete made-up fucking take here. 169 million and hundreds could fit in 3 duffel bags. No, it couldn't. You're just wrong. That's just completely wrong, dude. Let's look. How much would $170 million look like in $100 bills? I mean, here, we got some here. Hold on. I mean, I don't know what the exact number is here, though. But this is from when the United States brought in, I believe, what, like $12 billion in cash to Iraq? It's 3,000 pounds at least. I read an article he left with 4 cars and a helicopter full of cash. Helpful graphic image of $100 million. Yeah, this is $100 million. Well, you can't really tell. 2 of those fucking stacks, like that shit, that actually makes it a lot easier. Are you sure? I don't think that's how... I mean, I guess it's like not that hard then if you had like a big fucking... It's like 2 pallets. Easy peasy. Let's not get into the nitty gritty. Okay, shut up. Motherfucker said duffel bags, bro. You didn't ask how big the duffel bags were? Okay, well, the duffel bags have to be really, really big. Russia says Afghan president fled with cars and helicopter full of cash. He was right, apologize. What? No, you can't put 3,000 fucking pounds of cash in 3 duffel bags, dude. What duffel bag literally takes 1,000 pounds? What is it, made out of fucking titanium? The 100 Thieves Gucci bag, dude. Like, you can put $1 million in a duffel bag. It'll be really heavy. But yeah, here it is. Here's $1 million in a duffel bag, but $100 million, you can't. A helicopter can be a duffel bag if you think about it. Yeah, you got to think like hard. You got to think long and hard. And then if you think about it really long, like a helicopter will turn into a duffel bag. Anyway, what a silly thing we're arguing on. Let's watch.
Those who've worked with American and NATO forces, vowing not to hunt them down or seek retribution. What guarantees will you give to the Afghans who are now hiding at home, who want to leave the country, who the Americans will transport? They can't get to the airport. So what guarantees?
We are assuring the safety of all those who have worked with the United States and allied forces, whether as interpreters or any other field that they have worked with them. As for the...
Damn, this homie, what is he? Is he like an interpreter that fucking flipped sides? Like, homie's got a good accent. The thing that's different about the Taliban in comparison to like other groups is that like they don't have a lot of Western educated folks in their ranks. You know what I mean? They don't have a lot of like... They don't. That's how you fucking see. You literally hear them talk and like try to do PR. And it's very difficult for them to do like appropriate PR. He's like, yes, we will let women, you know, they can do news, but they have to cover their faces and wear gloves. You know, or women will be educated, but in Sharia, it's like, they don't understand that like that is not going to fucking fly with like Western media. They're trying to do PR, like Western focused PR, which is like Western focused PR for the Taliban is new, right? That's not really like, what the fuck? My bit rate is like falling apart. Yeah, like 20 years ago, they've been watching Twitch, bro. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The spokesperson for British media speaks very bad English. Yeah. So now they're like, now they have like, they're trying to do appropriate PR while still like maintaining Taliban values, I guess. I guess they brought someone in.
Their talents and their skills, we do not want them to leave the country. We want them to serve their own homeland.
Wary of promises from the Taliban, hundreds of thousands of Afghan women and girls now sheltering in their homes. Nasreen Nawar was able to get out of the country just in time, but her family is still on the ground in Afghanistan.
It's heartbreaking. So many people are stuck in the country and they have no way out.
Well, the Taliban leadership have now arrived in the country and they've got to get up the business of establishing government, but they've really got to bring order to the streets. At the moment, you have different groups from different areas controlling different districts, and there's no real unified command. That has to happen, and there needs to be some sense of positivity that those promises will be kept. Robin?
People want to know that, indeed. And Ian, what was it like for you to be there at that press conference yesterday?
It's a very bizarre, surreal experience coming face to face with the Taliban like that, and it's really the past and the present colliding. You have these leaders who have views which are centuries old coming into a 21st century press conference. I mean, it's good that they were willing to answer questions, but I can tell you, Robin, we've just been down to the airport, to the gates of people trying to get in, and it is total chaos there. The Taliban are firing over the crowd, people are being beaten, and that's what Americans and Afghans are going to have to get past to get out the country.
Indeed.
Robin.
All right. Ian, thanks so much. Well, hey.
Oh, that's what happens when you fucking give an entire goddamn country to the Taliban, America. The amount of 169... Okay, this dude is still like doing mathematical fucking equations to show me what $169 million looks like. As we talk to the Afghans, like Afghans for Progress group, we very quickly found out that like there is no good options out of this situation. There's just no good fucking options out of this situation. I'm going to get to the Donald Trump thing, but before that, I want to see the CNN reporter showing scenes in Kabul just days after the Taliban takeover.
The U.S. troop.
They're like, you know, peaceful transfer of power didn't really stick for too long. I mean, you know, they're already fucking reneging on that agreement.